We'll go ahead and take questions for Coach.
It's great to be back, folks, but go ahead. Who's first?
Kirk, why come back to Minnesota?
Well, that's a great question. I think there were a lot of factors that went into it, but there were three major things that made the decision really easy for me when my wife and I sat down and talked about it. One was PJ. I think he's a great head coach. He's a friend, and I know that it works with him, right? That we can play off of each other, and I'm real comfortable with him. I think two was the staff. These are all guys that I had worked with before. I have tremendous respect, so there was no questions for me about, what the work environment was going to be like from the head coach and with the staff. Again, I knew that it worked. I believe in, them as position coaches. I believe in them as people, just like I believe in PJ as a person too. And then really the third thing was the kids that are here. I knew that I had a relationship with the older kids. I was hoping that they would welcome me back and be excited about it. I felt like there was going to be a trust that we would have immediately, and an understanding of how I operate and how I communicate with them, and that they could help me bridge that gap with the younger players, let the younger players know that they can trust me, and that I'm here as more than just a football coach. I'm here to help them achieve all of their dreams that they want, and not only on the football field but in the classroom and socially too, and help them become a man, which is really what the program is all about here, as you guys know, is really the total person, and developing them in every area of their life. So I love that I was going to have an immediate connection, because really at the end of the day, the thing that you love the most about coaching is really the relationships, with the staff and the players. And one of the most difficult things is when you take a new job, especially with my style, is that it probably takes you a good 12 months, because trust really is earned. I don't care what you say, and I'm not the greatest guy with my words. But my actions are always consistent, and I always earn that trust with my players and with the staff as time goes on. But here I was like, this is already there, and I also, Minnesota's got a great football program here. PJ's built a really good culture here, a great culture. And a really good program, but I think there's still some meat on the bone, and I'm excited about helping, maybe get over the top here with everything.
Kirk, how exciting is it to get the chance to work with Tanner again?
It's special. You have a special relationship with, your quarterback, and obviously sometimes it really clicks, and it doesn't always really click, though. That's life. But Tanner and I, our relationship, we really clicked together. I thought we worked really well together, and to come back and to get a chance to work with him in his last year, that's special for me. Nobody's been rooting harder for Tanner than me the last couple seasons. So I'm really just excited to get back together with him and get going.
What did you learn in your 2 years away from the program?
Boy, I don't know if we have enough time. I think you're constantly learning. I think the year at West Virginia was really great for me. It came at a time where I needed something like that, to work with Neil and his staff, was special. And the role that I had was kind of a neat role. If anyone could ever figure out how to make a living doing that, it's not bad, where you walk around and give your opinion with no consequences. That's a great job. But it was really those people that I was around, the staff and Neil. It was a lot of fun for me, and I really enjoyed it, and it gave me a chance to really study football. I had a little bit more time on my hands than I normally would have. So it gave me a chance to watch a lot of different people and to really get your mind racing, for new things, new ideas. Where do you need to go? I really believe that, like, offensive philosophy-wise, like, I really haven't changed since I was at the University of Delaware from a philosophical standpoint, but I do think, like, the offense evolves, right? And so to have a little bit of time to look at things and think about, okay, how do we want to evolve with it? The game evolves, right? It's constantly changing, and I know that somebody might look at what we did at Western Michigan and then watch as what we did at Minnesota, and they say, well, it's the same. Well, it's really not. We evolved as we were here, with it, and, I'm excited to see where that takes us, in this journey offensively with, the players that we have back, figuring out what they do best, and then think about what do we need to do as the defenses are evolving, how do we need to evolve to stay on top of things.
What was your reaction when you saw that West Virginia was the opponent for the bowl game for Minnesota?
I honestly, like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is unbelievable, and I wasn't overjoyed, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody was at West Virginia or at Minnesota, but I knew that PJ and Neil had a relationship, and they both know, because I have a great relationship with both of them, that I knew that they both know how highly I think of both of them as people, and that how they knew that I wouldn't want to disappoint either one, and that I knew that they would, if they just could get on the phone together and talk about it, that they could come to a good resolution of the situation that was best for the players, the kids, which is the most important thing in the whole thing, and that worked best for them. And I knew that that would happen, so I was confident in that.
From what you've seen on tape the last 2 years since you've been gone about the passing game, and you look at how you want to maybe try to fix that moving forward, what stands out to you?
I really haven't studied it close enough, Ryan, to be honest with you. The only thing I know about the problems with the passing game are what I've read that you've written, so no, I'm just kidding. I don't really know, right now yet. I think it's way too early to try to make those type of things. I don't know if there was anything wrong with it, to be honest with you. But there's somebody different now running the offense, so we'll do the things that I'm comfortable with, that fit our players' strengths, and that's probably the biggest advantage for me to be here right now. It's really cool for me to see the players. It's a little deja vu-ish, but they're all grown up, right? The guys that I know, which is also pretty neat for me. I've been sitting down and meeting with them individually right now, and they come in my office and I'm just smiling. They're like, "Why? What are you smiling at?" I'm like, "I'm just appreciating how much more mature you are and how much older you are." Some of the guys were like just very chatty, and when I remembered them before, I was like, I couldn't even get you to say 3 words before I was here, but they're like, well, we've really matured and grown up, Coach, which has been great for me, and it just makes me smile, right? Because again, what are we in this for? Relationships, helping them develop and grow, and to see the growth they've had in those 2 years. But we'll get to work on that, Ryan, as continue to observe. But really, it's more about what do they do well. Moving forward, what do we need to do well based on how defenses are playing defense now? That's really my goal and what I'm really going to be digging into here.
PJ talked about the first time you guys reconnected on the recruiting trip, and it was just kind of seamless in the way that you guys kind of were able to reconnect. What was that like?
It really was kind of weird. Because like he get off the plane and I'm standing there and he comes walking in and he was like, "Hey, Kirk." I'm like, "Hey, PJ, what's going on, bud? Let's go. We got to go. We're going to this home. Let's go do this." It was like I never left, honestly. And I've had that feeling a lot since I've gotten back, which makes me smile. Appreciate how warm the welcome has been from everybody, honestly. It makes you feel good, that people are glad that you're back. But as far as it really has been like I never left. I was in there watching film this morning, and sometimes it can be a little weird because like I'm sitting there and he sat down like right where he always sat when I was in there, and I got the clicker in my hand and we're going through this, and he was asking me the same type of questions that he was asking me 2 years ago for the last 7 years, and so it's been seamless, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why he wanted to bring me back.
You look at when you left 2 years ago, it's the exact same offensive staff now that you walk back in 2 years later. How nice is that to have?
Yeah, again, it was a factor in the decision. The fact that I believe in those guys. I know what kind of position coaches they are. They're great position coaches, as good as anybody in the country. I know that. And it's not just me saying it. Like, there's a track record there, right? That I've watched them develop players. And I've watched them care for the players. And I know their style that they coach with and how it fits really well together. So that's really exciting, and the fact that they've grown in the past 2 years is exciting for me too. They just in our little bit of interactions as we watched the practice tape together from the other day, I couldn't help but smile a couple times with some of their comments, with things. So that's exciting for me too, to feel how much they've grown and to continue to watch them develop, because really, like, one of the more important things that I do in my job is, I'm not the expert at wide receiver play or O-line play or running back play or tight end play. My job is to help them be the expert, at their position. They all have way more knowledge than I do within their position. So that's exciting.
You mentioned having more time to study in your last role. Do you feel like you picked up on some new ideas and perspectives that you can bring here?
Of course. There's a lot of different things that are going on out there that I had a chance to study and look at, and that I've thought about, hey, this could fit within the philosophy that I have from an offensive standpoint. Just a lot of things, and again, to me, it comes back to the players, though, just getting a feel for where their strengths and weaknesses are, and then where do we need to go from there.
You ready to hear more questions about the tight end play yet?
Sure.
So Freiermuth actually got his most targets while you were there of his career. How do you like to incorporate Brevin Spanford now that you remember him?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about Brevin because I felt like, he had a little different skill set than some of the other guys that we had in the room, and that as he was going to develop, he would become a bigger piece of the puzzle, for us here. So I'm excited about it. I think that, people think that felt like that I don't want to throw the ball to the tight end. That's never been the case. Like, if you really look back at my history, when I've had tight ends that were really special players, they've gotten a lot of balls. When that was their special thing. We had a special tight end at Western Michigan. His name was Don Ahrensberger, but his thing was not running and catching balls. Right, his thing was knocking the crap out of people, But I think Brevin has a special skill set, and I think when I went to Penn State, I recognized that the tight ends there had a little different skill set than what the tight ends at Minnesota had. So I didn't ask them to do some of the things that we asked the tight ends at Minnesota to do. I asked them to do the things that I felt like they did really well that made their skill set really good. So I'm excited to see Brevin and see where he's at, but I do think that he has a special skill set, and we just got to figure out exactly how to use that.
We have one or two more for Coach.
When Matt Simon, when you left, Matt Simon became co-offensive coordinator and heavily involved in the game plans. How have you seen him, and what's his role going to be with you going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Matt's, he's going to have the same type of role that he had before. He might not have been, I don't know, was he co-offensive coordinator when I was here before? I don't know. Was he? Whatever. But he was an integral part of the game planning, right? I lean on Matt a lot. He's not only a great receivers coach, he's got a great mind and he's got a great future in coaching, and he's going to be a coordinator someday, with it. So I lean on Matt a lot. I lean on all the guys a lot. My style is very inclusive. I don't believe I ever stood up here and took the credit for, how we were doing on offense. I might have taken the blame because ultimately it is on me, right? But to take the credit would be unfair and not justifying what those guys are doing and what they mean, to me and our offense. I mean it when I say they're great coaches, and Matt's got a great mind, and he's right in there right now grinding away, and I'm going to lean heavy on him just like I always did.
Just one more for Coach. Yeah, you've been PJ's supervisor before and coaching. How do you feel that helps you in this role?
I just think what helped me when he hired me at Western Michigan was that we had worked together, right? So he understood how I treat people. He understood the type of coach that I was and what I believed in. And so we were aligned philosophically. And he had immediate trust in me. I think that always helps, when you have that relationship already. But I think, I don't know if that helps me now so much because we've been together for, we coached 7 seasons together. And, I think that I've earned that trust too now, with it. And I know that, that I trust him. Right. But again, when I went to Western Michigan, whatever, we were 1-11, but it didn't waver in my support of him or my trust in him or my belief in him as a head coach. So that previous relationship helped us then, but now our relationship has grown exponentially since then, and it's just, I believe that one of the reasons why we work so well together is, I trust him unequivocally as a head coach and to make those type of decisions that the head coach has to make. So I don't even consider thinking about those things, right? So that saves me brain space, right? And I can really channel my energy into the offense. And, I think that his comfort probably with me is that he knows he can worry about handling all the things that the head coach has to handle, and he doesn't have to think about the offense. He knows it's in good hands. And that's why we work so well together.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Great to see everybody.